All right. Well, that should be probably a really good place actually for us to get started. And everybody buckle up because this is Andrew, and he is, well, I'll get into it in just a minute. So
Yeah.
here, bear with me. We've already started the recording. So I'm going to share my screen. If you guys have any problems, do me a favor, just let me know in the chat box if you're having issues seeing the screen and what we're talking about right now. So welcome to our very first webinar of 2022. We are super fortunate to have with us 8-time is now since we started sharing the information on the webinar. It has now come out. Andrew is an 8-time Airbnb Superhost, which is incredibly impressive in that space. So Andrew is joining me this evening, and we're going to talk about blowing up your bottom line. So I know there's a lot of people right now who are thinking about Airbnb and wondering if that might be the way to go. But this webinar isn't just for Airbnb. This is to talk about your business as a whole. 2020, 2021, they were some pretty tough years for a lot of us. And I know people don't really feel the same perhaps coming back into this new year. So I made sure that I chose a guest for our very first webinar who I feel is going to bring the electricity, the energy, the motivation, and the excitement back for any of you who are feeling a little bit, maybe just a little bit off, a little bit tired. Definitely not Andrew, because he doesn't do that, but for the rest of us, this is definitely going to be a great opportunity for us to sort of think and strategize and plan a little bit more about our businesses. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us this evening. And I wanted to thank you as well and tell you how grateful I am for your support over the last couple of years, attending the webinars, engaging online, and being here. I hope you have enjoyed attending the webinars as much as I have enjoyed bringing them to you. So our agenda for this evening, we are going to just do a quick welcome and introductions. I'm going to try not to talk too much because Andrew will have so much good info to share. We'll do the sort of the discussion with Andrew, the panelist. We'll leave time at the end for a question and answer period, and then I'll just do my usual quick webinar wrap up. So just a quick reminder in case any of you are new to the webinar format of Zoom, or in case maybe the last couple of weeks we kind of forgot. So just a couple of housekeeping items. On the bottom right-hand part of your screen, or wherever your chat box is, there are going to be two options. Your Zoom will have defaulted to only panelists, or to whatever sort of the version of Zoom is, whatever they call it. So it will default to that. If you would like to chat with everyone, and I hope that you would, then change your check mark to say all panelists and attendees, or everyone, whatever your Zoom says. But just a reminder, it will default to only sharing your chats with Andrew and myself as the panelists or presenters. Don't forget to change that so that you're connecting with everyone. The other thing is, if you have questions for Andrew during his, during our conversation, please put them in the Q&A box. Don't put them in the chat box. I know Andrew loves to engage with people in the chat box, so in all likelihood, if you put your question there, unfortunately, we will probably be well past that. So any specific questions for Andrew or myself, put in the Q&A box, and you are more than welcome to say if the question is specifically for Andrew or for both of us. So I am your host. My name is Elizabeth Kelly. This is I think this is year 3 of me hosting webinars. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to bring you some amazing guests. I, of course, have been a real estate investor since 2005. Every year I learn more and I grow. And I recently started, well, a few years ago, I started coaching, and I'm loving that side of real estate as well. And with that in mind, as a coach, I very much believe in walking the talk. So when I talk to people about the importance of learning how to do things the right way, consistently from the beginning, I walk the talk. So the reason Andrew is here this evening, or actually the reason I met him, not the reason he's here, but the reason I met Andrew is because Andrew is my high performance coach. He has been my coach for almost 2 years now. A secondary benefit is that I learned that he is an all-star Airbnb host, which is amazing. But one of the things I love about Andrew is his super unique approach to real estate investing and to running businesses as a whole. So that was why I invited him here this evening. He is a high performance coach, Airbnb host, and has a number of other businesses that he has started and continuing to run. So absolute wealth of information. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know you have a little one at home and we're kind of coming up to bedtime, so I do appreciate it.
It's totally my pleasure to be here, and the little one's understanding that her high performance father needs to go out there and continue to create the high performance future that she's super excited about. So it's great to be here, and great to see everybody showing up here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. So we've prepared, as always, a series of questions for Andrew, things that I believe would be relevant for everybody to sort of get an understanding and see and learn more about Andrew's approach to everything. So we'll start with my prepared questions, and then we'll be able to move into questions that you as the attendees have on the webinar. So questions, and I'm just going to read through them quickly, and then we will stop the screen share and be able to get more into the discussion. How did you know short-term rentals? And I don't want to call them always Airbnbs, because not every host uses Airbnb exclusively or even at all when people are providing vacation rental properties. But how did you know that short-term rentals were the right strategy for you? How did you know that this property was perfect as a vacation rental versus, you know, all the other properties that someone could potentially buy right now? What have you learned during your 8 times awarded Airbnb Superhost status? What are some of the biggest challenges you've overcome? What do you believe is the key to your success? And what are your future plans for your business? So that should be, I think, plenty to get us started for the evening. So, do you have anything that you would kind of like to share, or are you ready to like dive right in? Because
I mean, I'm happy to jump up to that first question. I got a slide to just kind of, you know, bring in that focus, so we can jump into that. I got a little bit of a nice warm journey through that world, or we can just jump in and start that conversation. But your call. Would you like to do a screen share, or did you want me to? I'm going to just level up that first question, because
let's tee up the first question, because I kind of suspect that this is going to be one of those webinars where we're going to be, you know, kind of stretched to capacity, because I know you and I, between the two of us, we can crush an hour. So, you know, an hour and a half with everyone is pretty awesome.
So here's the thing. When I saw that question, Liz, do you remember my response to it?
I do.
What was my response to it?
It wasn't your favorite question.
I didn't connect strongly because I didn't go out looking for short-term rentals. I just need everybody to know this right now. Here's what I have been truly passionate about for probably almost 15, 16 years. I love creating unforgettable experiences. So if that's what we call a short-term rental, I'm in, right? I'm totally sold. So I don't feel like I set out on a journey looking for short-term rentals, Liz, and everybody here. I actually feel like they found me. They were called short-term rentals, and little did I know it didn't really matter what they were called, because there was something special about them. And I had a lot of passion, and I had a deep vision for creating experiences for people, creating events for people. And actually, in most of my 20s and in my 30s, I always imagined having multiple retreat centers where people could go and relax and rejuvenate and totally come back a new person, and you know, having multiple locations. So that was always in the back of my mind. Again, short-term rental, great. I didn't specifically get into become a real estate investor, but clearly it found me, and I got the bug many years ago, so to speak. Not the kind of bug, you know, unfortunately we're seeing and we're being told about, but this is a big opportunity where I had some event success, and I had thrown some parties, and I really enjoyed being a host. I love like literally running around and, hey, what would you like to drink? Hey, would you like some more food with that? Hey, we'll fire up the barbecue again. So that was something that came in early, and I felt like that vision for that retreat, for leveling people up, for creating an experience where they could really be themselves. I felt like that was really what attracted me into the space, and I'm so grateful to be here.
We're super happy to have you. And it's funny that that's been your journey, where it's almost like it kind of found you, because a lot of us as real estate investors, we're very structured, and we're very we're very measured, and
Yeah.
we have systems and we have formulas and we have, processes, and this is what we follow. And you almost kind of came at it like the exact opposite way.
Yeah, I think, and this came to me in my mid to late 20s. I had a really high level mentor who kind of told me that most of what you think are facts are people's opinions, and the how isn't necessarily as important as you think. It's the why. And I'm like, what do you mean it's the why? Like, asking questions, what do you mean why? And it's like, no, the feeling, the desire, the dream, like, what is that? What is that thought that you have? And when I picture the retreat and I picture trees and people relaxing, maybe sun on their skin, or maybe they just came out of the sauna or the all natural hot tub. And so I find that the real magic comes from the feeling, AKA the vibration. And I've gotten led down a lot of paths where, creation comes from, not from actually knowing all the steps, because we only see what's on the radar. And that's something at a young age I kind of got attuned to, is that, well, I don't know what's on the radar. I'm just gonna have some faith, and I try to work on that. But it really was obvious that this found me, and then I showed up. I kept showing up, and I knew that I needed to boost myself. That's the bottom line, right? To any business. And here we are. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And Rachel says that hers spoke to her as well. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I bought a lot of buildings in my time. None of my buildings spoke to me, but I definitely, for me in the next year or two, a vacation rental property is definitely on my radar. So I think I'm going to have fun shopping and waiting for one that speaks to me for sure.
Yeah. Let's go browsing, Liz. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So how did you know that this property was perfect for vacation rental? Like, I'm assuming you kind of looked around, how did you pick this one out of all of them?
So here's how it all happened. Late 2000, sort of mid to late fall of 2016, an idea was suggested to me by someone in my life that said, "Hey, Andrew, you've been working really hard at creating some geographical freedom, and you're working hard on all these different things. You're working really diligently. Like, where would you like to live?" And I was like, wait a sec. That's a good point. I don't have to be in the city. And I grew up in and around the Newmarket area, and I spent most of my time in and around that sort of general region. And I said to myself, well, I'm creating this life where I want geographical and time freedom. Where would I want to live more consistently? Where would I want to go? And the thought occurred to me, why don't I create a staycation? Why don't I find a place where people literally just wish they could go for a week of every single year, if they're lucky, 2 if they're really lucky. So I started to imagine, like, wait a second, okay, so I can live somewhere where people vacation. And because that's never been brought to me by my mentors, never really did it at that time. And I've never seen it in my family. I've never seen it from friends either. It took a little bit to get some juice behind that, but I actually started out not looking for a house. I'm not looking for some finished project. It was just simply, hey, where do I get drawn to? Where am I pulled to? And I knew right now, being around the world's longest freshwater beach, right? I saw one of the gentlemen here is Michael. He's out in Blue Mountain. He's on one side. I'm on the other side of Wasaga Beach. And that beach is a beauty. It is one of a kind. A lot of people don't realize it is the longest freshwater beach in the entire world, right? Every other beach that's, longer, obviously, is saltwater. So I started asking myself, like, okay, but I don't like the Wasaga Beach sort of hype and a lot of the the kids, the young kids, and that's cool, do your thing. But I started searching, and I really began a journey of just saying, like, where am I being drawn to? And it took quite a few months. I was really diligent. I was bouncing around between properties, between locations, north to south. Big map that I was checking out. And then again, it was also like, well, who's going to help me build this? Because I'm not a builder. I got money. Let's go. So it was sort of like this rubber hits the road, where I decided, okay, this is approximately where, but I'm open, and I feel like what's going to happen is it's going to show up when I'm ready. And when I finally interviewed builders, the one that really felt right His name was Dave, and his business is called Dads. And I was like, what a more like heartfelt title to a business than Dads. And I could feel it on the phone. I was up in Sudbury at this one point, and I just knew on that call. I said, Dave, you're my guy. And I said, what can I get for about 450? And he laughed. He goes, son, you can get something, all right, but I'm not sure how much. So why don't we meet? So that's kind of where it all started. And then April, end of 2018, it was finished. It was built.
Wow. And again, your decision-making process is so different than most of us as real estate investors. You know, when we are hiring a contractor, you know, we're going out and we're interviewing 5 different people and we're bringing them to the job site and getting quotes. And, you know, we're looking at pricing and blah, 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 blah. I kind of get the sense that for you, you almost decided who was the right fit for you first and then worried about the pricing later.
Yeah, I think that I've seen this so many times with, you know, my family's business that I left in 2015, and just seeing, I was always curious, like, why do some people struggle? Why is it that like literally struggle is attracted to them? And I started to realize there was something that I felt there you go, Rachel. Here's what most people don't realize is that the brain actually is composed of white and gray matter. Okay. White and gray matter, you know, one on the outside, one on the inside. Guess what? The gut also has white and gray matter on the inverse. So also white and gray matter, just inversely, one on the outside, one on the inside, different than the brain. And what we don't realize, there's actually 100 million neurons, literally firing little receptors across the enteric nervous system. So when you pull up at a set of lights and you see someone looking and you feel it and you look over and there they are, where did that come from? Because that doesn't come from the logical prefrontal cortex. Most people don't realize that our ancestors literally lived off their feelings, like the threat. They felt like something was too quiet. And all of a sudden, their heart starts pounding. Blood starts rushing to their muscles. So not that, you know, we're making decisions off a lion or an invading tribe chasing us. But Liz, this is a great question. I think that if more people trusted their gut, and specifically that visceral instinct, that gut instinct, you know, it probably helped them a ton in their life. It helped them make better decisions that are right for them. Yes, the numbers might add up, but maybe that guy or that gal, they don't feel right. Just like when I interviewed the first builder, I was in his home and he's immediately trying to sell me and upgrade me on, you know, heated flooring and all this other fancy stuff. And I felt so overwhelmed that I'm like, this guy, and I could feel the real estate agent's energy change. And I took her to the side after. I said, tell me, have you done business with this guy before? Oh, yeah. And what's it like? He's the hardest guy to work with. It's always so stressful. I was like, great. I think it's time we leave. That was it. You know, but he was like the main guy. I was like, you know what? I'm sure he's amazing. Love his home. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. You know, and that's, I think where a lot of people, they miscalculate that sometimes there's no calculations. You can add things up based on how you're feeling about them. And there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Absolutely. So I think this would be a good place to talk about what you've learned, like to be awarded Airbnb Superhost status. And you explained to me today a little bit how it works. I just assumed it was kind of an annual award, but it's not. There's a heck of a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, the first time I got it, Liz, it was back in 2000, I think in 19. Yeah, 2019. And at first, as soon as I got the email, the first thing I did, because I'm the most curious of students, I called them and I'm like, hey, Superhost, it sounds cool. What is it? How did I get it? And they said to me, there's 4 factors. Number 1, your response rate. And they said, the faster you respond to someone, the better. Okay, great. What's the other one? They said, it's your reviews. It's the average review score. Okay, amazing. What's the next thing? Average number of cancellations in a given period of time. And here's what's interesting. Again, with anything, time frames, as you've probably all seen, you're on here at 7:20 Eastern on a Monday. I can guarantee you this is not an average group of any sort, right? People that have achieved success, that are pushing themselves, that are moving into new goals and, you know, building a life that really satisfies them. And I started to realize, why am I getting this Superhost thing? Why is it coming faster? Even in times where I noticed the measurement of time hadn't necessarily, the number of bookings, why is it speeding up? Even though, like, you know, there's still a lesser chunk of bookings. And I spoke to them and they were like, hey, Andrew, like, based on your revenue, based on your number of bookings, based on your 0 cancellations, your 100% response rate, your review of 5.0. I just got one last week and they're like, you're 5.0, you're 100% response rate, you have 0 cancellations, you had 50 bookings. And that was just the tail end. That was just the last few months. And so, you know, it's really humbling, but again, got to trust the process. The way I see it is, I'm just a visitor here. I'm just a humble little fish, you know, hanging out in my own little pool, and I'm trying to invite other people to come and, you know, and enjoy this. So the Superhost journey has been an interesting one. And, you know, when I look and I see 4.92, I'm so excited for 4.93. And keep in mind, these reviews started coming in 2018, and the place was very different. Imagine a completely empty front and back property, sandy, like not even grass, because in Wasaga, it's really hard, and I wanted to do it right. I wanted to make sure it was the right move. And you know, imagine air mattresses in the basement. I mean, good thick ones. I wasn't cheap, like the big tall ones with the electronic stuff, so that if they needed to be reflated, well, so be it. I replaced them as we needed. But I had a group literally last week, a small group who hadn't been back for 2 years. And he called me and he was just like, it almost felt like he was in shock. He said, between the inside and the outside, like, where did you come from? Like, where did this all like, and so it's just really fun. I mean, that's when you know when you're in the sweet spot. So going back to Diana here. So we went through them all. So number 1, response rate. Number 2 is your average review score. Number 3 is cancellations, number of cancellations. I don't get cancellations. Number of bookings as well. Okay, number of bookings. So that's the 4. Response rate, review, cancellations, and you're looking at number of bookings. There you go. Yeah.
Do you have pictures that you can share with us? Like,
I do. Yeah, I got some before and afters here, just to give you an idea of like what happens when, hey, I'm moving in and I'm going to be an amateur and try this Airbnb thing out, and see how it goes, to where it's like, hey, no, I'm a high performance coach, and I must also be a high performance concierge. Let's make it. So yeah, how do I pull those up?
So on the bottom, you should just be able to
Share
go
screen?
screen share.
Let's do it. All right. So that gives an idea. On the left, that big comfortable couch, it is very comfortable. Nice lazy boy full recliners on the sides. Can you see everything, Liz?
Yep, it looks good.
Perfect. As you could see, like, this is back in 2018 and into the beginning of even 19. As you can tell, lots of nice pot lights, nice big fresh light, but no light fixtures. No light fixtures. You know, really as simple as it is. Now, if you also look beyond, I mean, the deck was pretty straightforward at that point. I should probably have the link in here so everyone can check it out and just, you know, get an idea of what it looks like now fully. This is just a couple of pics. On the right, I mean, we brought in 3 pull-out couches, or couches that literally turn into queen beds. If you can look onto the deck, you're probably wondering what that really bright green stuff is. Those are privacy hedges. We brought in 12 of them at an 8-foot length. It's about 96 feet across different levels of the deck. And we did that for privacy and noise. Now, unfortunately, one of the biggest challenges I faced was there's a 24-hour noise bylaw in this area. Meaning day or night, there's no screaming, yelling, shouting, or loudspeaker music at any point in time. And I didn't really know that. And I mean, there was no excuses to try and get around that. So I was like, okay, well, let's buckle up and go. So that's the first image. Here's a second image of the backyard. So again, this was the backyard, even the summer of 2020, just to give an idea. Now, what you see on the right we brought it in. We've literally, I think there were 40 dump trucks of dirt. We created berms all around the property. Again, because there's a peaceful neighborhood, like a very underdeveloped subdivision, a lot of nice homes, but it's not fully grown in. And the noise travels easily, especially when you've got an echo chamber. Didn't realize that a tall ceiling with lots of glass shoots that noise out really easily. So we again did some leveling up. I don't know if the last photo showed it, but we also put sound panels on the cathedral. So now that echo has dropped probably 60%.
So it sounds like a lot of the renovations and the work that you've done, it's what they're basically doing is kind of mitigating potential conflict in the future. So you're addressing the noise issues, you're addressing privacy issues, you're addressing, disruption for your neighbors and for your guests as well.
Yeah, I don't spend too much time focusing on conflict because I've also noticed in my past, we all attract a little more conflict. What I did is, because I spent so much time working on the habits around high performance and literally being obsessed with other people's perspectives and struggles, I asked myself, I know that neighbor directly behind me is a real piece of work who moans and groans. But what is she feeling right now? And most people, like, the thought of that with what I've gone through in this property, it would, like, even my neighbors are like, oh man, forget about her. Oh, don't worry about her. And like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to worry, but I'm going to definitely do right on her. I feel like there's an interesting equation, and I think part of the success is around this law of reciprocity. Do more than you're paid for. Do more even though you're not asked for it. Just do it. Do the right thing, and the right things will come back onto you. And so when I brought in a bunch of blue spruces, like this nice juicy one here on the right image, we brought in 61 blue spruces because ain't nobody going to be called senior spruce on Spruce Street but me. And I love blue spruces. Who loves blue spruces? Especially when the snow's on them. And we're even thinking of like Christmas lights, warm twinkling lights on all of them next season, but that's another story. So we won't go there right now. But yeah, Liz, I mean, it's like, okay, I've got troublesome neighbors on both sides because I got nothing better to do. And I'm literally like, hey, text me if there's anything, I'll drive down. Hey, I'll take care of it. But when people don't want to communicate, when they want to be left alone, when they're in their head or they're wherever they're at, like, I can't force people to show up the way I do. But that doesn't mean that's going to stop me from showing up at the level that I can. And so that is picture 2. And here is a view of the backyard. We literally brought in a flatbed of armor stone. It was quite a party when this was going down. I wasn't up there for the 3 weeks. I came up, I think, towards the end. But my landscaping team, again, how do you show up? You find the people on the street that do the work that you need. Most of the work literally gets done on that street, all of it, from the maintenance, from the landscaping, from all of it. So what you see here is literally a vision that I had of how can I create a monstrous experience in the backyard and take the noise down. So as you can see, the steps going down, we have about 2 armor stove below grade. So now when you're in there and you clap your hands or you use the booming voice, it doesn't echo. So again, you got the trees, you got the berms, you got it, and like it feels like heaven because I know what it's doing to the people around as well.
Absolutely. Do you have more photos to share with us?
I have some screenshots. Why don't we jump to the next question, actually?
Okay, so let's talk about some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome.
So we did the Superhost journey. Here's a couple of quick quotes, just so you could see, like, hey, I mean, we have fun. Andrew made this day 10x better, right? Definitely recommended. Cottage is a great spot. Right? And Nicole over here, her company literally exploded this year. They're coming up to their 4th visit. And they said the space to mastermind is so perfect because they all drop off that stress and worry and fatigue at the door. And every time I go, hey, Nicole, what can I do better? Every time, even though the reviews are amazing, I go, hey, what do you need? Oh, you need new knives? Great. I'll bring in better knives. Oh, you want some board games? Great. How many more? Which ones? Send me the links. I'll buy them all. Like, just if you were and it's funny when I coach my clients, I literally, like, if you were more obsessed about your wife's needs than you are just about your own, you would have a different marriage. If you were obsessed with the needs of your clients, if you leveled up and moved into a new level with your clients, it's a lot of fun. So here's a sort of, this feels like a lot of text, but just hang tight. Let's talk the challenges, right? We had noise bylaws, privacy issues. So here's the thing. We have a completely exposed front of the road going across the property, one neighbor on the side, a nature trail along the other side, and a nature trail that runs behind the tree line. So at any given point in time, like, there's 4 sides that could be viewed. And when you got noise bylaws and everything else, it's, yeah, we got nosy neighbors, guest feedback reviews, garbage, same day flips. There was one situation where a neighbor thought the 6 bags of garbage in the ditch were my groups, until my team member on the street confirmed that it wasn't by going into the garage and taking some photos. But by that point, the neighbor had already dropped off the garbage on the front porch. I was coming up to, at that point, I was still running the garbage recycle train. And I said, I'd be happy to take it because I'm sure there've been times where my guests might have done something like that. And just the way I handled it, and just the way they articulated, like, the response that it wasn't Andrew's group, the nosy neighbor became our greatest allies. They become so great. We actually discovered one of the things they don't like about our house is people speeding down the straightaway, and there's no posted signage for speed limits. So what did we do? We worked with this other family, again, the garbage dropping wife, she's quite a salt, like, she's an amazing woman. She's got some tattoos, and she'll let you know exactly how she's feeling. We petitioned the whole street, became friends with the bylaw officers. Yeah, I am like super popular with the bylaw team now. And we put together a package, petitioned the town, and now they took the unposted 50 limit, which nobody knows about, it's unposted, and they actually went ahead and now they have 40 speed signs that just went up because of our petition. So again, like, problem, speeding, let's see what we can do about that. Opportunity, right? Solution. Cathedral reverberations, as I was mentioning, COVID protocols. We integrated a 16-stage HEPA filtration system, medical grade clean air system, into the furnace alongside the other blower, VOC, volatile organic compound. Again, like, you get into clean living, as I've done over the past 15 years, you bring that in, now you know why people call it holistic home, right? Upgrading comfort, right? Finding that quality, consistent, and great help, creating the attractive space, keeping the dots, the dates all booked. I would say one of the bigger challenges is last year when they shut it down, starting the year, and I already had the trees and the rocks and so many things ordered, and I knew where it was going, and there was no Airbnb, and I was like, well, I'm counting on that to be able to do that. But I just said, like, this is just a blip on the radar. We'll just keep moving. We'll do what we have to do. Right. And I just feel like, Liz, when talking about challenges, no matter which one you look at there, it's an opportunity for some self-reflection, right? Some new perspective. It's an opportunity for growth. What is it? My property? Is it the home? Is it in myself? Is it in the business itself? And how I'm looking at the numbers and the facts and the figures. The relationships on those on the street, I can't even begin to tell you where things are right now. Even the one final neighbor in behind, she, as I heard put it, she's resigned because she can tell that I've really leveled up, and the township told her to stop calling because Andrew's property is on point and he runs things as he should. Sound sensors, as an example, we installed them inside and outside. We tell the guests, we just say, hey, this is for noise purposes, to help you out, right? So, growth is key. And again, challenges. Liz, do you remember that review that I got in March that I read to you, and it was my response? Did you want me to go on that quick?
Yeah, I love that, because
you loved it.
Took something that so many of us would view as a negative. You actually managed to turn that around and to generate additional business from it. So I think that would be, now just before you go into that, Wendy is asking if you would mind sharing the link, because I think people are super curious to go and.
Yeah. I'm going to have to, let me get out a screen share in just a few moments here, and then I can happily bump that link in there. If you type in modern cottage fairy tale experience, nothing on Airbnb actually shows up but ours. And you'll see the first image is that beautiful open space. Again, it's a modern cottage fairy tale experience. So let me jump over really quick. Here it is. So I had a nice guest, Emily, right? And as you can see here, overall, Andrew's place is just as depicted in the listing. Lots of space, very clean and stylish. Communication with 5 out of 5 is very responsive. While this place does accommodate large groups, there is a 24-hour noise bylaw, and the home is closely monitored by cameras in the front and back throughout the day. This isn't in the listing. It was not an issue for our group, but thanks for mentioning it. But there are sound monitors inside and outside the house to ensure you're not too loud. Just something to keep in mind if you're a larger group. Okay, here we go. Thanks for your public service announcement. The noise bylaw is mentioned in the ad, and the home is not closely monitored as the cameras front and back are in place for security insurance purposes. And as for the noise sensors, I informed you on your arrival that they were actually not running. The noise sensors are only in effect for our summer groups, as that's when outdoor noise needs to be monitored. Glad your review and rating also captured the additional night you were offered at no charge, the 4-hour early check-in I made happen, permitting large dogs into a 5-star spot, and the trailer with the sauna that you asked to bring that was permitted to be on the driveway the entire visit. Thanks for stopping by. So again, Liz, I mean, I think sometimes we take things a little too serious, and we got to breathe first. We got to go for a walk on it. And then we just say, hey, like, what does my highest self feel like I should say right now? Like this is not about making Emily feel dumb or less than, but like, hold on a second here. If we were in a court of law, your opinion, you would be cross-examined by my lawyer, and a lot more would come out. And here we are. So I know you love that one, Liz, back when I first shared it to you.
Well, it's so obvious that you go above and beyond for each of your guests. And
that's it.
Lemore and I were talking the other day, and she says that wherever possible, you do early check-in and late check-out for everyone across the board without them even asking.
No problem. I mean, Lemore also told me, make sure you mention that group. And I was like, okay, I'll mention that group. So a group showed up, and they're having a little bit of a moment, to say the least. It was a really good group. And so what did I do? I called my property manager. His wife is the one that does all the flips. They're both super legit. And I said, hey, buddy, I know this is a little bit of a stretch at 7:30 on a Friday. He runs a construction company. I said, do you mind going and getting 4 bags of wood and a couple of bags of chips and a epic s'mores welcome package for the kids who haven't done s'mores before? Can you leave that on the front door and just maybe do a little ring on the doorbell and then step back and just say, here we are. And so, Gloria, we're going to get that title in just a sec. But if you type in modern cottage, fairy tale, the words come up. But, like going above and beyond, what would that cost? Like $80, something like that, $100? Like, I'm already envisioning what I'm going to do differently this year with gift cards and a little welcome basket, something that is non-perishable that will definitely perish in the bellies of all my hungry guests. So we're just, again, have fun, create the experience. Oh, they found it. There it is, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I love the tenacity. I smell success over there. I love it. So yeah.
Can we ask, obviously over the last however many years, you've invested a significant amount in upgrading the cottage. What did you start renting it at? And then what are you if you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah. So that's the next slide.
Oh, perfect.
And let's jump into success, because again, success, there's a reason. There's 3 S's in success, and we should turn each of those S's into dollar signs, right? Money talks. Money is a great way to enable, to further provide, solutions and tools. First of all, key to success, have a vision. And don't let all these challenges get in the way. Like, yeah, the OPP's at your door. Yeah, the bylaw's at your door. So what? Right? There was never an illegal crime committed. There was never anything that I felt required, a paramedic, police officer, although some of the neighbors did in those moments. Have the vision. Don't let a challenge get in the way of it. Law of reciprocity, I mentioned it before. Do more than you're paid for. Napoleon Hill, in his famous works of Think and Grow Rich, and the books and the science that actually predate that they watered down and they didn't want you to know about, it literally says, like, do more than you're paid for and watch that boomerang come full circle. And I see it time and time again. What does it attract? Doing more than you're paid for is not just about the money. What if you could attract an opportunity, a person, a door, a circumstance that literally fits like a puzzle piece into your business or into your life? Like, what would that be worth? You're worried about your health or something's going on. All of a sudden, that person shows up because you've been showing up for someone else. Here's another big key to success. I don't take the feedback personally. Trust me, I feel it. I'm not like numb. In fact, I'm more in tune with the words than most people because I feel it from both perspectives. I'm like, oh, they're feeling that. What can I do? What can I do? I remember one time I had a neighbor during the speeding time. This was about 1.5 years ago, when people would zip up and down. And again, my house was the target that day. And it wasn't. It was actually some other vehicle. She decided to come to the property and point fingers and yell. And so I get a phone call from an upset guest saying, why is his neighbor here? And I didn't invite her. I haven't spoken to her since. She doesn't come near the property. But I spoke to this at the time. She's actually an undercover cop with her family of Italians. They're a little loud, and that's fine. Just, respect. And I just said, hey, I'm feeling what you're saying. But after what this happened and this happened, you've already attracted some attention on the street. So I don't blame her, but I don't appreciate what she did do. And I feel where you're at. Do you see that? I'm actually like, if you can acknowledge where people are coming from, it actually takes out this personal responsibility that you're trying to fix everything. So don't take feedback personally. Build your character. Growth on the inside, growth on the outside. Improve your communication, whether it's text, whether it's phone, whether it's your ads, whether it's your in-person, leveling up your engagement with others. I have so many people that are messaging me regularly, and they're coming back. They're saying, hey, I'm coming back. Hey, I'm booking this, I'm doing this. I just can't even believe the wave that seems to be happening. Love that book, Andrew. Good reading. For sure it is. It's a great read, Gloria, for sure. And getting around others and studying what actually works. Like, I got obsessed in my, about 13, 14 years ago, studying success. And I didn't get successful overnight. It didn't happen at all. But I knew that I would be, and I continue to focus on who I needed to be. So that's the key. Let's jump to the numbers here. 2018 in the fall, I did about $350 a night. Now I have multiple nights, many weekends booking. We're about $2,100 to $2,200 per night. During the summer, that's weekends. During the week, I'm getting up to about 1,900 to 2,000 now, because the summer is starting to book up faster than I expected. I've never had so many summer bookings at this point in the year with what were happening. And even with everything that's going on, yeah, we're at social restrictions, and I'm completely booked out this month and next month. And yeah, if I have to, hey, I'm not that strict host with a cancellation policy that if things go complete lockdown, I'm not the guy that you're going to go cut the lawyer for, because I'm just going to say, hey, want to use it as credit? Hey, why don't we do this? And I'm dealing with TEDx Toronto right now. They're actually supposed to be coming this weekend, and it's not working out, as a number of people actually aren't well, and there are different challenges. It's 6 bedrooms, Michael. 6 bedrooms. We have about 10 beds. I turned the basement into a bit of a large bedroom, bit of a rec playroom. And so, as you can see, that's the 2019 or 18. I got 18K. Finished off a few months, had some fun. 2019, 2020. Keep in mind, 2020 numbers are based on 3 months of lockdown, and they were hard lockdowns. 2021, we knew what we were dealing with. We embraced it. We did what we had to do. We just finished the year, and I truly believe 2 to 220 still may be a little on the low end, considering some of the plans that I have. And I have a slide on that at the end of, just, engaging people, having retreats out there with my clients. And here's the thing, success, again, grow yourself, show up for yourself. No, this is all gross. Okay. Here's the thing. If you start adding in all the expenses, any good business is like a well-oiled machine. It takes time to turn over those pistons. I didn't set out to, especially when I got multiple businesses, I'm looking at this at the long term. And, even last year, 100K on the property alone. Well, there you go. 2021, there we go. It's road. But every time you do it, property originally was about 800K. Now it's worth about 1.6, 1.65. So we're just going to have fun. We're just going to keep going. And so great question there, Amin. And you know what? Here's the thing, bring your gross, like the gross feeling of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I find that all the other matters take care of themselves. I really do, like the expenses and where you're headed. Now, future, I'll just keep it simple, Liz. We're planning some retreats for all my next level clients. We're going to keep up leveling the experience with some ideas that I have. Company and corporate events, I've had some companies message me based on what they're hearing from a couple of the other companies that I deal with. And I got a couple new locations coming soon on exactly where I want to be. That's the key. I think a lot of people, they lose sight that you will literally dim your magnifying glass, sun beaming through it, if it's not held passionately on something that really matters. And in this case, like, I want to burn that piece of wood. Like for me, it's like, hey, where's that tropical location, or what's that next location? So I'm glad you're appreciating it. Let me stop that, but I'm going to leave that till after. Let me stop my share. Hey there, Liz?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. So what'd you think?
That was pretty awesome, and I'm sure everybody is busy combing through your your Airbnb listing and getting all kinds of nuggets. It sounds like the branding and the sort of differentiating yourself from your competition is probably something, because I think a lot of people would assume that an Airbnb property, to make the kind of money that you're making, must be on the water. Yours is close to the water, but you don't have waterfront.
No, and I never claim that we do. I don't set it up. I mean, if any of you are looking at the ad, thanks, Wendy, and Lori as well. Here's the thing. I am super congruent. I'm very honest. I will tell people that, hey, no, sorry, I can't help you with that small intimate wedding. I can't host 25 people. I just feel like the noise bylaw might work against you. But being completely direct with people, realizing that as I studied and looked around, there are so many places on the water. Does that mean they have the ultimate experience? And my opinion is no, they don't. That doesn't necessarily mean it. Do I want to be on the water? Absolutely. Will I live on the water? You're darn right. But, I also took a look and said, I can get more by obviously not being on the water. More value can be put into the home and the space. And I think ultimately the key here is, I also was a little concerned about, someone has a few too many drinks, man, they trip over the rocks down to the water. Like, there's a few things where energetically I felt like, when asked, no, I actually don't feel like I want to have a hot tub on site. And it's not because I'm worried about sand getting in the jets. I really want people to be safe. And I don't want someone to be that outlier to potentially ruin it for others. So yeah, I mean, it really does come down to, really taking a closer look at what's important to you, and thinking about what people want, especially at this time in the world, right?
So if you were coming into a clean slate, where would you believe that the best place would be to put your money? Like, do you go high-end linens? Do you do advertising? Like, would you, put extra into making sure that there's more beds? Like, how would you Where do you believe that the greatest return comes from?
So I already got 10 beds. There's nothing smaller than a queen. We just upgraded our live-in nanny suite from a single. So that single, the nice, beautiful white frame, is headed up there. So now we're going to have the 11th bed for a child, or maybe the unlucky single guy he's just not vibing right with the ladies, and he's kicked to the single bed as he so deserves. But the fact is, the thing that I would focus on right now, yeah, there's probably some linen upgrades that I would probably get to, where we're always upgrading that stuff. Like if I notice there's something, a tear or a blemish, like I literally tell my team, please don't spare any expense. Just tell me what we need. And they are out, they're grabbing supplies. If they need something specific, I'll also send the actual items to the doorstep from Airbnb. So they're like, oh, it's on the front step, I can see it. Can you grab it for me? So advertising, I don't need to. There's a lot of second and third visits. So I'm getting constant messages of wanting to come back, needing to find dates. The booking itself lends itself to a lot of attention. And I think at this point, coming up, it's our 4th year. It's really clear that this place has its own attraction field. It's like in Star Wars, it's pulling you in. I get messages from people that I never imagined. Like, Andrew, wow, you sound amazing. I can't believe what you did. Where did this come from? This blowing my family away right now. We're so going to book. Like, okay, wow, thanks.
And I probably wasn't clear with that. I meant if someone is looking at getting a property this summer, for example, like how should they decide? Like obviously in 2018, when you got the property, you did what you needed to do to get it to a point where it could be rented out. And then every year you took some of the profits and rolled it over and put it back in. So how do you know what the minimum is that you need to do in order to sort of be able to start generating those 5-star reviews? Like obviously looking at an empty house or an empty cottage, you could put in 10,000, 100,000 or $1 million. How do you know where to put whatever your budget is that you have to put in?
So because again, where did this come from? It came from me. It came from my vision. I get this, and it happens in my home, Liz. You've been here enough to know that I get these. So I was given the title about 9 years ago as called the living specialist. And I got it from someone that I really looked up to. And I get these, my wife calls them downloads. Okay. She calls them downloads. And it'll be in the evening. It'll be when I'm, just relaxing. And all of a sudden, like something moves or something's changed, or why did that room happen? And so I will literally, when I'm up there and been up there, I am constantly scanning as to what are people feeling. And so the next step, I actually want to get a bunch of side lamps for all the nice side tables, right? We outfitted all the bedrooms, everything's on point. I want some side lamps. Why? Because the overhead light, I think it's a little too bright. People are trying to relax or chilling up by the fire, nice mood settings on the main floor. And then they come downstairs, and my electrician, they put the lights on a dimmer, but it doesn't really quite get the juice in the right spot. So I would, I'm probably just, what, I'm going to do it actually tomorrow. So what do we need? I'm literally going to get like 12 side table lamps, and like just getting an idea, like what is going to make it better. I've spent a lot of time just making myself better, making my relationships as best as they'll allow me to, and the things around me in my environment. Because keep in mind, most people, they're wondering why they don't feel different. They don't have better health. They don't have a better life. You don't realize that your genetics literally change in a different environment. When you go away, why do you think that? Why do you think you feel different? Why do you think you maybe shed some stubborn weight or some stress or pain? Like your environment is key to actually reprogramming your cells to thrive. So knowing that, and my first space 12 years ago called the Zen Zone, I literally looked to create those feelings. And so, this is a great question, Liz, and one I'm sure that we can be at for a while. I'm just sort of scanning through and thinking what else. I actually think I'd like to, we're getting a fridge freezer in the laundry room, because one fridge freezer for a group of 16 Italians is, in my opinion, my groups have been too nice. I actually wish they were a little bit more like, hey, some of our food and stuff needs to stay in our coolers. So I'm going to have in the room next to it a fridge freezer, have the microwave on top. And that way, hey, like that's the overflow, because I know that 16 mouths is a lot. The environment is the individual. That's what's interesting. If you're in a really tough environment right now, like look around. What is it? Is it the lights are too bright? Are you by some sort of, loud noise, or you maybe need some more peace and quiet to yourself? EMF fields coming off of a lot of devices and dirty electricity. I mean, all this stuff is like, this is not new. Quality of the air, stuff like that. So great questions and points, everyone.
So would you recommend something like right from the beginning, invest in like good mattresses and beds and maybe good window coverings so that people have a good sleep? Like, is that, obviously we can't always do things to the nines right from the very beginning. If we had to pick somewhere to start from, would you think that would be?
Yeah, like here's the thing. Imagine someone waking up with a bit of a hangover. They're relaxing in paradise as you would at a resort or at a nice Airbnb. Do they want the sun shining through? So early on, I got blinds for all the rooms, all the bedrooms upstairs, all the bedrooms downstairs. But I actually left the 3 windows in the basement because, again, it was sort of like there's some air mattresses and stuff. But once we elevated those beds, Liz, and literally bought in the side tables and created a nice like massive rec room bedroom, of course you got to get the blinds up. I even did tinted windows on the entire main floor. It doesn't show in the pictures because then there's that extra privacy. And that came in before all the trees and all the berms and all the outlying area got elevated. But it's funny, speaking of attention to detail, when I came into the house and that cathedral was tinted, again, one-way tints. So during the day, there's no way you can see in. At night, if the lights are on super bright, I always tell guests, just relax the dimmers. You'll probably feel more relaxed. I felt something, and this is going back to, again, you were there in May with my client retreat, and there was something about it that I felt like I need light. Where's the light? So guess what? I had the guy come back and I said, I want you to rip all that tint off on the transium and the cathedral triangle. So now it's just the 7 or so feet of window height, and that's it. So that there's still lots of light. Thanks, Gloria. I mean, here's the thing. I think literally if you just give a couple more hoots about people, you'll realize that like, seriously, that is such a currency. Relationship currency, that's the stuff that gets you out of the hijinks. Those are the people that are there for you. Those are the people that you're there for. And so I would say, though, on that point, learning to care for yourself is the biggest obstacle and kryptonite to being able to care for others. And you got a lot on that one, Liz, right? Learning about self-care. Like, I have studied and immersed myself for 15, 16 years in the art of self-care, starting with my mom's bedridden illness and helping her flip that switch and healing. So thanks, Gloria. It means a lot.
Calix Rose also said, I like what you're saying, Andrew. Imagining you are the guest to determine what matters most. I love that.
Yeah. And if you don't know, because maybe you're like, well, this is kind of new for me and it's kind of out there a bit, ask them. Jump on a call. Don't be afraid. I had someone book the other day and I literally was like, oh, that's amazing. I called them immediately. Didn't even hesitate. I was open at that moment. Called them. Hey, I see it's your birthday weekend. Happy early birthday. Wait, who is this? It's Andrew. It's your Airbnb host. Actually, I did introduce myself earlier on. And she's like, Andrew, you have no idea how much this means to me. I've been trying to go away for years. And so I didn't want to miss SB up at the top there. How are you getting around all the restrictions, bylaws, etc.? Cannot home share for more than 120 days in a calendar year. Short-term rentals are illegal under current zoning rules. Yeah, so here's the great thing about Airbnb. They are the best business partner and they keep everything above board, above grade, really honest. I am literally like, I feel like I'm on the township bylaw team now. I speak to the chief officer probably once a quarter. And there have been a few times where that conversation was a little heated, intended at my direction, till he realized the kind of person I was and saw that, like, great, this is the first time you're telling me, like, give me a chance, all right, let me learn. So it seems, SB, I'm happy, like, I'll send my link here. If anyone wants to like help reboot that inner world and say, hey, here's my bottom line, I actually have a link here. You can totally just come, we'll jump on a call and chat. SB, I'd love to chat more about that if you're up for it. You're right. There's so many sort of like fine lines here of like, what am I doing and who do I do it with? And here's the key: relationships. Like, between having the township supporting you and having all the officers come and salute you and say, Andrew, I just wanted to let you know, so-and-so behind you called again. We told her not to call. Right. So like, it's really nice when, people finally got your back because you have had their back for so long. And you just want to get back to a place where, oh, this is the dream that I had. And I'm through all that muck and mud and all the tough stuff. I mean, I got my first fire alarm, false emergency when I was at Tony Robbins 3 years ago. And they're telling me there's a fine and there's all this and noise bylaw, and I'm in another country. And it's like, those are those moments when you really are like, you got to trust yourself. You got to trust the people that are there. And you got to trust and not make it more than it is. Right. I find like when things happen, sometimes people go to this apocalyptic place where, oh my gosh, like the world or the sky is falling. Like, no, it's not. Okay. Somebody dented like I literally had a group this summer. They were so nice. It was raining a lot, kept the kids indoors. They sent a photo and there's a hole through the drywall, like a decent one. Kids were playing, got a little rough. They've been indoors, they're a little bit, cooped up. And they paid well for the booking. And it wasn't a long trip. It's like 3 nights. And she goes, we're so sorry. We feel so bad. Please tell us how much we can spend. And I said, honestly, I think there's a way I can actually cover that up and bring it with the other pieces that will need to be done. We do an annual fix up with little bumps, bruises, and pain. Honestly, we'll put it towards our future relationship. And she just went bananas. She's like, what do you mean? So again, it's a hole in the wall. Nothing that a little bit of elbow grease and some paint can't fix. And I think, like, if that's your opinion, then people can let their guards down and feel like they're not being judged because I'm in Andrew's nice home, and something happened. It's okay. Like, the amount of honesty I get, and I don't have theft. I don't have vandalism. I don't have stuff happening that I've heard a lot of Airbnbers get. And here's my question: how can you up level your space? How can you create a better space even in your short term? Let's say you got a multiplex. Like, what can you do to create a space where, like, you make people feel even better than they currently do and they never want to leave? It's totally possible. I believe it's possible if you believe it's possible.
Love that. So we have 6 questions in the Q&A. Are you okay if we hop over there?
Yeah. I'm sorry this is going on maybe a little bit. I see there's 74 of you, so that's pretty sweet. Let's go.
Okay, fantastic. So Michael is super curious and has a whole bunch of questions. Which
of course he is. He's the platinum partner with Tony. Yeah. So interestingly, Tony, so I'm not platinum. My wife and I were going to, but then when we inquired, she's pregnant. How does that work? Like, she can't come. And he's like, it was a little bit, the answers weren't really simple. So we're like, let's wait. And then COVID happened 6 months later. So it was one of those things, like, I didn't quite get to, but I did all of his events in about 9 months, right? Life mastery, wealth mastery, unleash the power, date with destiny, all that good stuff, business mastery. By the way, if any of you haven't gone to Tony Robbins' business masteries virtually or virtual or real or imagined, it all starts here anyways. go, because when I got back from that, I literally stopped doing the garbages and the recycle runs. Yes, someone would flip and clean, and I might just help with the sheets and the garbage, but that was the point where like, no, I'm done. So I appreciate you, Michael, mentioning that, because again, where'd that come from? That came from an internal insight, a shift that I made. And then yeah, it's there it is. Business Mastery is coming up this week again. There's probably time, people, to jump on that if you really want some juicy downloads from the man himself.
Love
Fist
that.
pumping that guy. Oh, there's no better feeling. He's like, hey man, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. So starting with Michael's questions, Andrew, what's your business model? Buy and generate short-term rental income, or charge people who own properties to best prepare them for short-term rental success? I think I missed
Sorry,
some.
where are these questions again?
So I don't know if you should be able to see them because you're a panelist. On the bottom of the screen, there should be a little tab that says Q&A, and you should be able to see that there's a number
Give
of
me
them.
one sec. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, perfect. All right, so Andrew, business model: buy and generate short-term rental income. Charge people
Or charge
own
people
property.
who own properties to best prepare them for short-term rental success. So
I mean, so both. Now here's the thing. My business model is, again, creating those great experiences and knowing that that's what I'm going after. But I've had quite a few people who have messaged me who were actually guests and said, hey, could you coach me on doing something like this? And it actually kind of came out of nowhere. And so, am I there to help people? Am I there to lead people, even though that may not be the high performance sciences or the transformational work that I do in people's worlds? Yeah, sign me up. Like, I'm totally happy to go there. So do you have a cleaning team to come in after each rental? Do you elaborate on the process and general costs in relation to your nightly rate? Yeah, Michael, great questions, buddy. So the cleaning team, I actually have the most amazing husband-wife couple. They're so badass. He's got a full tattooed sleeve. He's a hunter. He's a badass. He's amazing. His name's Adrian. And him and his wife do it all. I mean, they literally snowplow the property. So I sold my ATV and my plow. They mow the lawns, take care of the garbage, the recycle. They fix the things. They fix the faucets, the bolts and the chairs and the stools and everything. The wife who cleans, if it's a same day flip, normally from what I was getting from not the greatest help from the cleaning company, I won't mention the brand, but I was paying around the 200 mark, 225, then I got to 250. For a same day, I pay her 350. And because of the quality of the clientele right now, Michael, it used to be a 6-hour flip, 6.5, sometimes even 7-hour flip. And she was super happy. I mean, $350. But now it's like a 4.5 hour flip because the guests are literally cleaning after themselves. And I tell them not to. But it's almost like they're like, no, we didn't really clean much. They just have a level of respect, Michael, that I've never seen, I never imagined. So it's making my team's work lighter. And as a result, their hourly rates going up because I'm not going to pay them less. If we have had a few challenges, Michael, where we came in and there were a couple moments where I was like, who the hell do you think you were? Like, what the hell happened? Like a bomb went off. It's very rare. I think it's happened like once or twice in the past 6 months. And I was like, hey, you know what? Boom, here's an extra $100. Or here's a gift card when I come up, LCBO 100. So, you're paying $200 for a grass cut. You're paying $150, $175 for a garbage recycle flip. $200 for a snowplow. All of a sudden, like my team's making thousands of bucks a week. In terms of the booking, if I were to sort of average it, those maintenance cleaning expenses, you're looking at approximately, I would say on average, again, because summer and certain seasons it's different, but I'm still paying that fee. Could be anywhere as 12 to 15%, could be a little bit more depending, 20%, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. So if it's a $3,000 booking and I paid her $300 to clean, but there's still the garbage, right? There's still a grass cut maybe that week. During the summer, it's grass cutting every single week. And we got a beautiful irrigation system. I mean, no one on my street does grass the way we do. And I'm not talking about the legalized type of stuff. We're talking like nice, lush fairy tale grass. So did your lender consider your short-term rental income in the qualifying process for the mortgage? So here's the thing. When I built this house, Michael, again, a great question. It totally, Joe, type of clientele. It's the people I want to roll with, like Liz. Like these are the type of people like I want to roll with. I want to hang out with. I want to level up with. I want to learn from. So the lender. So I was coming at it with my coaching income to get approved in 2017, 18. It took us 6 months because it was only the year before I actually hit my first 6 figures. And since then, I mean, it's been just bananas. Growing in all these different, fun areas. But, the lender specifically gave me the approval based on a variety of income sources that I had generated as an entrepreneur, as a sort of non-employable employee. And it was really tough. It took 6 months. We actually got the approval and then they pulled it. It was a really difficult time because there's this house being built and it's, been leveling up. And my wife, Lemore, at the time, she's like, yeah, let's do the basement. I was like, okay, sure. And she didn't realize that there were a few things we should have probably considered. So to answer the long approach here, like there was no short-term rental. There was nothing going on. There was no intention. I had never made $1 in short-term rentals. Maybe I hosted a small event or party and I had admission and stuff, but like I've never done anything like it, Michael. So I didn't indicate anything because there was nothing to indicate. And I got approved because I was a high performance coach and I was hustling and moving, wholesaling vehicles across North America, a former position that I was migrating out of as I worked on the stuff that I love the most, myself and my clients. And that's kind of where it all sort of came together. Is I got the approval, we got in the house, and then I started sweating buckets, knowing like, whoa, this is a big operation. This is a big home for a single guy, and with a girlfriend. She's got a place in the city, but let's level up and see where it goes. And by that fall of 2018, that's when I got my first sort of taste and said, hey, I got $700 coming this weekend. I'm so excited, and they put a cigarette hole into my table. And there were a number of other things. So thank you, Michael. Questions are amazing. I'd love to connect. Hit that reboot Andrew Scopick link. There's actually a Calendly link there for a chat. It would be great. Are you concerned about provincial stage 2 COVID restrictions that right now make short-term rentals illegal? So here's the thing, like right at this moment. So the changes that we're seeing in short-term rentals are coming far and few and fast. And as soon as this jurisdiction, so here's what we also have to realize, that certain counties have different rules around short-term rentals. Like City of Toronto got banned super quick, right? But then as you sort of work outwards, that is dependent, that changes a little bit. But the other piece too to consider is that we are locked down when we're supposed to be locked down, period. And just because we got a bunch of bookings this month and next, guess what? So what? We'll make it up to them. Hey, like your thing's on strict. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not expecting something for nothing. So yeah, we will. Like I said, we're working with Airbnb. We're getting the updates. I'm working with the township and everything else. And like I said, we haven't seen tickets. We haven't seen any challenges of any kind. And I'm listening and learning as we go. What kind of floors did you put on? Dan, what a great question. I'm going to call it something else that it's not, or that I would like to call it. Its magical name is the self-regenerating floors. This is the weirdest thing. So Dan, without being sort of silly here, the floors are vinyl. I got a really nice grade of sort of like a nice, soft, warm brown wood color. But very early on, I was like, why are people moving stuff? And they're scratching up the floors. And I remember there were certain moments where I came in and I was defeated. I would see the floors and I was like, 20, 30 minutes, I had to just sit down. I was like, and maybe I should have indicated that, Liz, as part of the challenges that I was having, scratch floors. I left my personal infrared sauna up there early on in the rental process. And these clowns moved it. And I don't know what happened. In certain groups, they just love to move stuff. And now we're not seeing it the way we used to. But long story short, these floors, it's like the scratches disappear. And we clean them so well. I am super, super like, hey, clean the sills, clean this, clean that. Like we just had a team in that cleaned every window on the entire house, and there's a lot of them, inside and out, including even the fireplace ones. So thanks, Mark. I appreciate it, buddy. But happens short notice, your primary team might not be able to clean on. Honestly, so if I got to jump in a vehicle and take my live-in full-time kick-ass Jamaican nanny maid house manager, let's go. Everything be Irie. We're just going to go. What kind of floor was it? I missed it. It's okay, Wendy. Yeah, so it's a vinyl floor. We got it from a nice place in Yvale, and they have Yvale flooring, really nice stuff out there. So nice floor, and yeah, it was great to be on the floor with all of you today. Thanks for making me a part of this.
That was awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Very much appreciated. What do you guys think? Is it awesome having Andrew start us out with a whole different perspective this year, instead of being focused on the dollars and cents, but being focused on giving more than we expect to receive?
I love it. I'm trying to screenshot here.
Feeling the love, Andrew?
What's that?
Are you feeling the love?
I am. It's blowing up here. Hold on a sec. Did you Jamaica? Are you going there? I've been to Jamaica many times. I've seen Jamaica the way very few do, from the Orange Hills and the grill and hanging out with some really wonderful people. And actually, a friend of mine, his father was a Jamaican Olympian in the Munich Games when the bomb went off, unfortunately. And so yeah, I've got to taste there. I got an invite to come down to some sort of estate mansion that my friend has taken over. And so thank you so much, guys and gals. I mean, happy new year and happy new you. Hopefully, if there's something, last year was a little bit like maybe showing up, or maybe it was maybe frustrated, or maybe feared, or maybe fatigued, or just exhausted or overwhelmed, like reboot that. Want some help with it? Let's reboot it. I'm not gonna ask for anything. I just ask that you go out there and you do your best work and you feel your best. And so reboot.andrewscopick.com if you want to jump on a chat. I actually got a 6-page reboot document free of charge. It's in there. Check it out. Let me know what you think.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. And on that note, what I would like to do is I would like to get you to pick a number between 1 and 80.
Me?
1 and 80. Can you do that?
Oh, well, the first number that comes to mind, and I know you might think it's because it's 2022, but 22 is my favorite number ever. So I'm going to go with 22 because 2022 is the year where you all come through, where the best you is totally possible and you're going to thrive. So 22 is my number. Go. What did I win?
Okay.
Vanna?
So can everybody see the screen okay? You can see what we're choosing number 22 for. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So as with all of our webinars, we are giving away a gift at the end. Thank you so much for your time and attending. This month's will be the Action Takers Real Estate Investing Planner by Quentin D'Souza. So Mary Beth, my trusty VA, will let us know who attendee number 22 is, and we will get that off to you within the next couple of days. And hopefully that becomes a great part of your reboot for your real estate journey this year.
Way to go, 22. What you going to do with this newfound success and real estate strategy? But here's the thing. You're all winners. And you know that. And sometimes we'll wake up in the morning, we don't feel like a winner. Take better care of yourselves, right? Look up for yourself. You're worth it. We're all a bunch of winners on here. It's great.
Love it. If you are not already a member of my Facebook groups, this is your personal invitation. Please, Canadian Real Estate Investing Mastermind or the Canadian Real Estate Investment Hub. They kind of have two different purposes, but would love to be able to connect and engage with you a little bit more on Facebook in the future. Here's where you can find us. So Andy and I are both on Instagram, and of course we have our websites. We would love to hear from you. We always love to chat and talk about real estate and high performance. and you know, what's lighting your fire, and maybe, you know, a challenge that you have that's, you know, something that's holding you back that you feel that you would like some support on.
Let's go. This is the year. I know a lot of people are struggling out there, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of great things, and I think this is the group that's still on at 8:30 on a Monday. Like,
right?
Heck, what is going on here? Come on, people, go get off. Go. Have a snack. Go have a drink.
Awesome. And my next webinar will be Monday, January the 21st. This is going to be one of my lunchtime ones. So Cherry Chan is going to be joining me, and she's going to be spending about 30 to 40 minutes talking about accounting 101 for investors. What do we need to know? How do we get started? You know, how do we figure out a software? What do we need to keep track of? You know, how do we know if it's time that we should incorporate and start keeping separate books? So Cherry's going to be a wealth of information, obviously. And so that's Monday, January the 24th at 12 o'clock. So I'm going to thank you again, Andrew, so much for your time this evening. And thank you so much to everyone who attended. These would not be as much fun as they are without all of you.
That is for sure. Look at the messages. I'm loving this. This is great. Good for everyone just tuning in, making meatball soup like Janice. Super delicious. Liz, tell her we're on our way. Let's go.
You can go. I don't eat meatballs, but you can have mine.
Yeah.
Janice is a good cook. I'm sure she'll make other ones. Thank you so much, guys. All the best. Happy New Year. See you all again soon. Take care of yourselves.